What's up, guys? Blaney Talks here, back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing my experience as a young single father. I've had this idea for a while now, and I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't ready for it, or maybe I didn't really get the full experience or enough of an experience to discuss, or maybe I wasn't okay or in the right spot to talk about a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about today, like from a clear perspective, because sometimes whenever you're going through stuff, your perspective can be clouded, and that can come out in the way that you talk about things, so you could have this clouded perspective. But I feel like maybe I've gotten clarity on the situation, and it is a little more evident what I want to discuss. Running in circles a little bit here, so I'd like to start off by saying great experience overall, life-changing, and I could go on and I will go on about how it shaped me into a person that I never thought I could be. It shaped me into a more intelligent person, a more thoughtful person, a more empathetic person, a more conscious person. It shaped me into a stronger man, physically and mentally. It's caused me to have more ambition. It's caused me to, care more about my everyday interactions. It really does, it gives you that purpose, but that's so vague, you know what I mean? Like, people don't really elaborate whenever they say that. But it's sort of, and I think some people, it doesn't give them purpose. I think some people become parents and it doesn't give them this great purpose, and they're just like, oh, this is another thing, this is another part of life. And like, in a way, you sort of want to be like that, because if your child becomes your everything and becomes the center of your world, then you stop caring for yourself. And the moment you stop caring for yourself and you say, this is more important than me, is the moment you sort of, I think, become a worse parent or a worse father or a worse mother. Is whenever you say, this baby's more important than me. Because what I'm getting at by saying that is, you have to put yourself first. You have to make sure you're all right. You have to make sure you're all right mentally. You have to make sure you're all right physically. You have to make sure you're all right spiritually before you can put your best foot forward. It's sort of like this. You might understand it more if I say, what is that saying? Like, you can't be in a relationship if you don't already love yourself, or something like that. Like, you need to love yourself first before you can love someone else. And so it's the same thing. Oliver is my baby. I guess I'll use his name. I don't really talk about him much on the channel, so I try to keep him out of the social media spotlight for whatever reason. I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing ever, but a lot of people do say it's a bad thing. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna take your word for it. But yeah, my son. Wait, where was I? Shit. This is an original Blaney Talks video. You have to love yourself. And wait, before we continue, I want to say, like, I'm really happy to be here. Like, I haven't made one of these videos in probably about a year, and we're coming up a year on the channel. Just me talking to the camera. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be here. And like I said, I had this video on my mind for a while. I'll try to slow down a little bit too, because there's so much that I gotta say. But if this becomes an hour-long video, then it becomes an hour-long video. I mean, maybe that just gives more insight. And I'm gonna pause where I was at and go back to another idea, which is, I made this video for people that might be going through something similar. You know what I mean? People that are scared, people that are like confused, people that are, you know, curious even, but mostly for like young men, you know, or women. You know, maybe you can gain some insight from this. But I feel like being a young father, especially one that's not in a relationship with the mother, is highly like frowned upon in certain ways, and sort of, it kind of like, you either fall into like, I don't know, I feel like I haven't met too many young single fathers now that I think about it. Like, I don't think I know a single one, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to get out there more, but, or maybe I'm not looking, maybe I don't need to. But hopefully, you know, if you are a young single father or mother or parent or someone that's curious or someone that's thinking about having a baby at a young age, you know, maybe you could get some insight from this. But being a young father sort of puts you into this category where it's like, someone hears, oh, that's a single dad. You know, I feel like the immediate knee-jerk reaction is to be like, oh, he probably cheated on his baby mama. Oh, he did this. Oh, he, you know, doesn't want to be a dad. He probably only sees his kids every other weekend. You know, there's a lot of like, I don't know, like stereotypes. And I don't think they're healthy. I don't think they're good. I think they cause me to be insecure in a lot of places where I don't think I should be insecure, because I'm a good person or I try to be a good person. And it kind of makes me doubtful. Is like, am I a bad person because I am a young single father? And I think it's just, it could be a negative thing, but let's not go too far into that. Maybe we'll come back to it. I think this video is going to be all over the place. So maybe you're curious, how did that happen? How did he become a young single father? I'm not going to go into too much details, and before I continue, I must say, my baby's mother is a beautiful, beautiful person, and she's lovely, and where do I go from here? I just want to say that anything that I say in this video is not meant to bash her or put her down or, you know, try to take away from her and her experience. And I'm not going to try to talk too much about like what she did wrong or anything like that, because I think we were both young and we both were very scared whenever everything happened and confused, and like, it's the biggest thing that you could ever do is have a child. You know what I mean? I truly believe that, right? So it's a very, for an undeveloped brain, you know, even like a slightly mentally ill brain, it's like a very overwhelming experience. And so I want to continue by saying, like, nothing I say is meant to discredit her as a mother or discredit her as a person, because she is a great mother, and I'm glad that she's Oliver's mom, and I wouldn't want it any other way. And I'm proud of her, and I love her, and it's just like, nothing I say is to take away from her. We'll just start from the beginning. You know what I mean? We'll start from the beginning, where it all started. You know, we were scared young. She was 19, I was 21 whenever we figured it out. That maybe I was 22. Either way, young. She was younger than me. Teen pregnancy. She wasn't a teen mom, but she was pregnant as a teen. Maybe that's TMI. Well, who gives a fuck? Oh. Found out we weren't really like dating. I always say we weren't together. I think she said something similar. It's funny, she told me what she tells people whenever they ask, and I told her, and we were like, that's, both of us are like lying a little bit and like bending the truth, but it's the best way to describe it, you know? And sometimes you just have to like alter the truth a little bit for people to understand, or, you know what I mean? So yeah, I like to say we weren't together. I don't think we were. It's so far back, it's like, we were kind of like on and off, but we had only known each other for a very short amount of time, maybe. I don't even know. I always say 3 months, but it might be closer to 6. I think it is like 3 months though, and through that, there wasn't a lot going on, and you know, we wound up having a baby. And I won't talk anymore about the relationship, but we wound up getting pregnant. And so we sort of didn't have this very tight relationship at the time. I think we had even like decided that we were going to stop seeing each other, and then we had a baby, and that happens. And so in those moments, you're scared. You're like, all right, well, obviously we got to work things out and go from there. But you know, things got bad before they got better, and I'm really happy with where we are now. But things got bad. We both sort of went into defense and flight mode. No, defense mode at a certain point. Defense and fight is like you're just trying to be a good parent before you even have the baby, and you're just like thinking about that, and it's so confusing and it's so scary. There's so much going on around you. There's so much noise from this person, that person, and you know, I'm seeing this person and you're seeing that person, and you know, are you gonna try to make that person the dad? Are you gonna try to, you know, replace me as a mom? It's like there's these doubts and everything's flying around, and you're young and you're indecisive, and it's hard for you to communicate, and you don't even know how to communicate, and your frontal lobe isn't even developed, and you're freaking the fuck out. Like, you are freaking out. Like, everything feels like confusing and loud and scary. And so it's easy to make decisions that may not be best decisions, or it's easy to make decisions out of emotions. All the decisions that are being made are from an emotional place, which, like, me as like a stoic person is like, or like someone that values stoicism, and I wouldn't say a stoic person, but I try to be stoic, or I have in the past. I don't know how true that is, but I understand the value of like making decisions from a clear head, you know what I mean? Obviously we fall short all the time, and that a lot of like the worst decisions people ever make in their life are from emotional places, like, you know, love triangle gone wrong, man murders wife, and whatever the fuck, you know? So it's like this is very like scary thing happening, and you're confused, and there's noise, and you don't make the best decisions. Not to say whatever, like, I think we made the best decisions that we could at the time. And that's what I always say is like, I was a scared young person, she was a scared young person, and we acted accordingly. And so from there, you start to, making sure my mic is still connected, start to maybe resent each other. I didn't think I'd be here for this long, but I guess this was like a big part of it. This was like the hardest part, and so maybe this is what is the most important to talk about. You start to resent each other, and you know, maybe make decisions out of resentment or like fear. Mostly it's fear. It's fear, this consuming fear that is indescribable, because really at the end of the day, both people, if that is your intention, like, and this is what I talk about, if, this is why I'm saying if, because I have this voice in the back of my head saying, oh, most men don't even want to be fathers whenever they're that age. Most men just want to run away, you know, like, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to, that seemed a little crazy, but if you want to be a father, fuck, where was I at? If you want to be a father, you're working out of like this desire to be a father, but also like this immense fear. It's like you're trying to be like, what is the best decision I can make for Oliver at this moment, or my future son? And so I think the goals of each person are misaligned, or like they have the same goal, but maybe the opposite party might get in the way of that goal, or like you're scared of the opposite party. You're like, how are they gonna fuck this up? How is she gonna fuck this up? How am I gonna fuck? And she's saying, how is he gonna fuck this up? How is he gonna prevent me from being the mother that I wanna be? How is she gonna prevent me from being the father I wanna be? And so I think I'm done with this coffee, because I don't really drink caffeine that much, but that shit is hitting me. But how is this person going to mess this up? So you make bad decisions, or decisions that are not with the other person's interest in mind. And you end up like resenting each other and sort of maybe not caring about the other person's opinion too much. Which, whatever. I want you to know that if you are a young man in my situation and you do have the intention of being a father, being present in your child's life, and things are not looking good, I want you to know that you're not the only person in this situation, and your only option isn't, you have more than one option. You have a lot of options. You don't have to be the father that wasn't there for your child. You don't have to be this, you know, you can be scared. You deserve to be scared. But you don't have to not be the father that you want to be. You can still be a great father. You can still be and we're back. Okay, so finished my croissant, drank some more coffee. Camera overheated. I was shooting at 4K, 30 frames per second, so now we dropped it down to 1060, 60 frames per second. It's Louisiana weather. That's actually a reason that I stopped doing the Blaney Talks, is because the camera was overheating. I bought this $800 camera. It was 100 degrees outside, and we went to go shoot, and it overheated, and that made me cry. And so once it gets a little colder, we're gonna resume Blaney Talks, paint your feelings. And so, oh man, I love that. But so let's just continue. Where were we? If you are a young father, you do not have to be scared. You can be everything that you want to be, but you need to have your intentions correct from the jump. You can't be half in, half out. And I won't go into much more detail about like situation with me and my baby's mother, but things got really ugly. And like, if my intentions hadn't been to undoubtedly be in his life as much as I could be from the very beginning, I wouldn't have been that. I wouldn't have been that. I would have been out of his life. I wouldn't, just because of, you know, stuff that we don't need to discuss. But if you are in a situation, let's say hypothetically, you're in like a court battle, because that's where a lot of this stuff goes. I mean, I don't have to be afraid to discuss that. Do what you need to do to be a part of your son's life, and you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. And I'll go in a little bit of detail. I approached the situation, and by situation I don't mean my child. I mean like the situation of like being a father, single father, trying to be in his life and dealing with like the drama of being in a sticky situation with his mom. I approached the situation with what I thought was the best idea at the time, and I don't look back on it and regret it. But I did wind up like going to court and getting like a lawyer and stuff, and the only reason I was able to do that, not the only reason, but it didn't even seem like a thing. Like it wasn't like I felt so hopeless. So unbelievably hopeless. I felt like there was nothing that I could do. I felt like I wasn't going to be a part of his life in the way that I wanted to, and it gave me anxiety and panic attacks every day. And I did what I had to do, or what I thought I had to do at the time. Me and mom still like discussed like whether it was necessary, but no, we don't discuss it anymore. We just avoid it, because now we're in like this really great place. And so do what you have to do. And if that's taking out a loan to get a lawyer, if that's, like calling your baby mama every day and, just like expressing how much you want to be in his life until she budges, or like, just do what you have to do. And it'll work out. I promise. If you put in that fight and you are consistent over a long period of time, because you can't, that's all that I think Oliver's mama wanted, was to see that I wanted it. Because if we go back to the stereotypes that hurt young fathers, it's like from the day one of us not being together, I sort of had to prove that I would be a benefit to Oliver. I had to prove that, and the ball's in her court, you know what I mean? It is. So it's like, prove every day that you want to be a present father, because fucking society tells young single mothers that their baby daddies are pieces of shit that don't really love their son and are going to put them in danger and be bad for them. And that, I think, that last sentence, prove it, because this, and it'll work out. That's it. So now, let's just say, I'll talk about, we'll move forward. What wound up happening was I wound up being a part of Oliver's life, and wound up with 50-50 custody. And so now that that's like the hardest part to talk about, because it's like it still feels, you know what I mean? Because that was like such a scary time and such a horrible time for everybody involved. Now I'm here, and life is beautiful, and I get to be the father that I wanted to be, and I am the father that I want to be, and so we'll continue from there. So maybe we just go down the line. We talked about being pregnant, now let's talk about maybe a newborn. And let's revert back to well, maybe the newborn stage will help clarify that. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. It was hard in so many ways. One, I am 24 now. That means I was 23 or 22 whenever he was young, like newborn. And so our brains aren't developed. And I don't know if you know this, but younger people are more likely to not be able to process emotions, process whatever, because their brains aren't fully developed. And it was really hard, looking at this baby, just crying, just needs attention 24/7, as opposed to like a few months ago or even a year ago, I only had to care about myself, and I didn't even care about myself, and I did the least amount of things that I could do to care about myself. I did the bare minimum for myself. Now, if I do the bare minimum for this baby, it's going to show in a year. It's going to show in 2 years. It's going to show in 3 years. Everything I do for my son needs to be beneficial. It needs to be as much as I can offer at the time. And that is such a vast difference from I'm doing the bare minimum to keep a 24-year-old alive. Now I need to do the maximum that I can do to keep a 24 alive, because we have to put ourselves first, and to keep a newborn alive. You know, I say alive, but like thriving, and just like you have to just put forth all of your effort. And so there are shortcomings. There are shortcomings that are just really just like, you know, it's hard to like remember like anything in the newborn phase where you're like, this is how I failed. But I remember feeling like a failure in a lot of ways, and feeling like I'm doing something wrong. You know, maybe not to go into too much detail, but maybe he was crying for a really long time, and it's like, oh, if he's crying for a reason. You're like, I've changed his diaper, I'm rocking him to sleep, he's not tired, I burped him, he changed his diaper, he's filled, he's not hungry, is he too hot, is he too cold? And it's sort of like this. And maybe this says something about me, but people are always like, there's cues. I'm like, what are the fucking cues? And maybe that's like where the importance of like being a mom and like having a mother is like, I'm sure she was much more receptive to that kind of stuff, because they have that physical connection from very immediately after birth. But it's like, I am freaking out. I was like, not freaking out like all the time, but like there was times where I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And super stressful. But then like you get good at it. You're like, oh well, maybe I did pick up on the cue subconsciously, but then like you're like, oh, this is happening? Okay, well, we'll try this. And for example, I'm trying to burp him like this. 10 minutes crying. Like, well, maybe let's switch it up. Maybe let's go over the leg. Throw up, bam. And that throw up is not a good thing. I don't think. I don't even know anymore. It's been so long. Don't make me think about the newborn stage. Maybe I'm showing my hand a little too much here, but a lovely experience overall. Scary, hard, frightening. Do I miss it? I talked to my baby mom about this. She says, I miss the newborn stage so much. He was just a baby and he was so little. Do I miss it? No. Hard. Not very. I mean, it was rewarding whenever you got that burp. You know what I mean? It was rewarding whenever you put them down and you're like, it's like that single mother. It's like, the baby's so, goes outside, smokes a cigarette. Like, fuck yeah. It's just like hard, grueling work. That the only part that's rewarding about it is whenever you accomplish and finish the hard work. Because maybe I didn't pick up on like the social cues of like him being happy, like you know, the smiles and stuff. But it's like this, he don't even know why he's smiling right now. But as time goes on, you know, newborn stage ends, and you know, we get to like babbling and you know, just like more. He's not just looking around. He's processing. And holy shit, this is almost a clouded part of my time, or clouded area. It's also clouded, like if it's not last week, because it changes so much, and it's like it's so subtle, but it happens consistently over time. Like there's changes every day. And so it's hard to like be like, okay, da. But for me, maybe I'll just jump ahead a little bit. So like, that's sort of the idea of like being a father in general. Is like, it's just like anything else in life, where if you want to be good at it, you put forth the effort, you try your best, and you will. And if you want to be a shit dad, you don't give a fuck, you don't try, you say, I'm a good dad. And you don't think about it past that. Oh yeah, I'm a good dad. In my opinion, that's a sign, but like, more so that mindset of like, I don't need to question whether or not I'm a good father. You should be questioning that. You should be questioning that all the time. Because I think with anything in life, the moment you go, oh yeah, I'm a great soccer player and like there's not much more that I can learn. Oh yeah, I'm a great artist and there's not much more that I can learn. Oh, I'm a great YouTuber, there's not much more I can learn. I'm a great worker. That's the moment that your desire to get better and your ability to get better dies. It's a learning process, and you have to be willing to learn, and you have to want to learn. And so a lot of that first newborn stage, the learning was, how can I control my emotions as to they are not, so that they are not coming out towards my son? And how can I be more conscious and think about and not make emotional decisions as to not affect him, you know? And there's a lot of like those, it's like, people don't talk about it enough, dude, but there's like, it's like, there's been like people that are like, okay, your baby is crying for 30 minutes, you get upset, right? He's crying for an hour, crying for 2 hours, and you've done everything, and it's like, it's so frustrating. It can be so frustrating. You don't know what's going on, and you're just like, how? What am I supposed to do? You need to put your baby down, walk away, catch a breath, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, reevaluate, and reapproach. Is like, you need to be able to step away, and it's like you need to have that emotional control. That's a thing that I don't think people talk about enough, is like, it is emotionally draining to have a newborn. But we'll continue. Newborn. So then it becomes rewarding. And it becomes really rewarding. You know, crawling, babbling. There's so many milestones that are being hit in a short amount of time. And, you know, you bring him to the doctor, he's getting his shots and he's getting weighed, and they're like, oh, he's developing, you know, faster than the average child, and that makes you proud. You're like, oh, well, I go around, oh, my son's in the 88th percentile for height and weight. You know what I mean? Not to like shit on anyone else, but just to be like, I'm proud. I'm a proud dad, right? And so this video is pretty long, huh? You move on to these like milestones, and it all feels like one for me. Like even crawling to where he is now, it just feels like this one thing where he's just sort of becoming more conscious, learning how to communicate, learning how to talk, learning how to just be a human. And he's developing into a toddler, and he's growing up fast. And I don't want to get emotional, but it happens so quick, you know. Maybe that's like why people are like, I'm just the newborn stage, because he is growing up so fast. And he's only 2, you know. He has indefinitely changed my life for the better. And to be able to have a purpose is a beautiful thing. If you've been in a place where you don't have a purpose, you feel like you don't. And it's not even like he is my world, you know, like he is my world, but it's not like I put him first, but I put him second, you know. I put him first, but I put him second. Is I know if I put him first and just go, oh, I'm gonna give you all this love, and like, then I'll stop thinking about myself. But he has allowed me to care about myself. Which is truly beautiful. He's allowed me to care about myself. That is such a beautiful statement. Now, moving on. I don't even know where we're at. And now it's just sort of, let's just go to now. It sort of just feels like it feels like this is second nature. And that's why I decided it's time to make this video. Is it feels like I got this. Fuck, wait, I can't say that. Shit! I have a lot of shortcomings as a father. And there are times whenever I let him watch TV, even though the FDA, no, that's not it, FDC, I don't know, child development, fucking federal government shit says you should not let your child watch TV before the age of 2. Sometimes on Friday nights, we watch Animal Planet before we go to bed. And I let him stay up late, past 8 p.m. Avoid it screens otherwise. But, you know, that's not really a shortcoming. I'm making a joke. You know, whatever. Who gives a shrimp? I have shortcomings in the fact that it's a patience thing. Is like now he's a toddler that can communicate well, and he can pick up on my social cues, and I can pick up on his social cues, and he is able to manipulate. He is able to manipulate, and he is able to cry, and he knows that daddy doesn't like whenever he cries. I mean, but I always say, it's okay to cry, Oliver. It's okay to cry. You need to communicate. You need to tell me what's going on. And sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I'm like, hey, can you stop crying? Like, not because like he hurt himself, but because he's whining or crying because he wants something, and something that he can't have, something that I won't allow him to. He wants ice cream and yogurt, and it's 10 p.m. We're laying down. He's been doing this thing where he'll pour water on his shirt at night because he doesn't want to go to, I don't know why, there's some reason, but he'll pour water on his shirt so that I have to, he goes, mess, I made a mess. All right, I'll change your shirt, son. Pours water on his shirt, like out of this cuppy. And then he goes, mess. I think it's because he doesn't want to go to bed yet, and he just wants to change his shirt. Like he likes changing his shirt, and he doesn't like messes. Hates messes. Mess, messy, messy. But I have a lot of shortcomings. But I do feel comfortable in the fact that the direction that I'm going as a father is a good one, and I am being intentional. Let's see what this says right here. Does it say overheating? Overheating in 19 seconds. So we'll come back in a little bit once the camera puts down. All right, camera overheated again. I think this is a sign for me to, wait, gotta flip the thing around so I can tell if it overheats a third time. It's still pretty warm, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up. So the last one was 24 minutes long. The first one was 20 minutes long. We're about 45 minutes in right now, which is a little, I mean, nobody really, I mean, I don't know. I don't care. This is my experience. It's a beautiful and long experience, and no amount of video could explain everything. So I'd rather be thorough for the people that are feeling alone and scared and curious than to not be thorough. Anyways, with that being said, I don't even remember where we were at, but there are some things that I wanted to talk about specifically. Dating life, you know, dating life is interesting. I did have a girlfriend for a while, for a big part of Oliver's life, but she wasn't a part of Oliver's life. I mean, she knew him, she met him a few times. I mean, maybe not a few times, like she was there, but like very distantly. And that was to protect herself, that was to protect her. But moving on from that is like, that experience was not horrible, but there was always like this feeling of like, she doesn't accept me for being a young single father. And that may be an insecurity that comes from the pressures of society. That's probably an insecurity. But like, there was always this feeling in the back of my head, and I was like, she hates this about me. Yeah, no, because I've met other people that are like, I love this about you. It doesn't really matter about her, like saying that she has any shortcomings, but for me, the hardest thing is whenever you have a child, you want to care about yourself. How do I care about myself? I make my YouTube content. I skate. What else do I do? Is that it? No, make music. You know, let's say those are 3 things. And I have a full-time job. So it's like, because I'm financially responsible. how do I justify bringing another person into my life? First off, because you have to be able to be in my life before you can be in his. And that's like a common thing for parents. It's like, let me see, you know, you're not meeting my son before you meet me. You're meeting me. And then like, if I'm like, yeah, you're chill, you pass the vibe check, then you're meeting him, right? So how do we accept that and move forward? How do we go, okay, wait, you're cool enough to be in my life. How do I allow you to be in his? Which I think the bar is higher there, you know, because I'm willing to like meet a lot of people and then like get to know them. But once it comes to him, is like, when is it appropriate to meet him? I think I've had one lady that I was interested in meet him. And then like one other one, but it was like more of like a friendship kind of vibe. Like I didn't want to like show any affection in front of my son. So it was like, yeah, I guess because you really love children and, you know, we are friends first, then you can meet him. And besides that, that's been it. You know what I mean? And these two, maybe 2 ladies in 2 years, is kind of crazy, but there has to be like this sort of strong wall around that, because your child needs to be protected, and not everyone is going to be good for him, and not everyone's going to be good for you, and therefore like not everyone is going to be okay to be in his life. Moving on from that, the actual dating part, from my perspective, it's not been hard to court a woman. But I think there is like, having a child like automatically puts you on another list for a lot of people our age or my age. Is like, oh, single father, bye bye, you know what I mean? Whereas some ladies are really into it. But a big part of my life has always been like focused on like courting women and like trying to be with them. Like I've been a lover boy in a sense, and I hate to sound so cringe, but it's like I really desired that deep interpersonal connection with someone of the opposite sex. And so it changes the game completely. You know what I mean? The game, that's crazy. Don't hate to play, I hate the game. Anyways, it changes the game completely. Like, there's only certain type of women that will mess with you. And it also makes it to where there's only certain type of women that you will mess with. So like lowers the numbers a lot. You know what I mean? Anyways, it's been like interesting, but that's the main thing, is like you become like, it changes that, and like you become more focused on, how can I incorporate this person into my life first without taking away from the things that make me a better person, which allow me to be a better father, because Oliver comes first, but he low-key comes second, because daddy comes first. So how do I bring you into my life and allow you to be in my life before how do I bring you into my life and allow you to be in my life if you're taking away from me, which is also taking away from my son? So you have to find someone that is beneficial to you and allows you to do the things that make you a better you, and not because you love them, and not because loving them makes you a better person, but because loving them allows you to be better at the things that make you a better person. I hope that makes sense. Oh, I gotta shit real bad. This coffee's running through me. Damn, I just farted. I wonder if y'all heard that. Anyways. Oh, good heavens. Alright, listen up. I just shitted on camera, first time ever. I gotta wrap this up. So, friends. What do friends think? Friends are weird. Friends look at you, they're really proud of you, but in the beginning they're like, is that your baby? I need you to do a DNA test. Do a DNA test right now. That ain't your baby. Because everyone's in shock. And like, that is the last thing you want to hear whenever you're having a new child. Like, make sure it's yours. Which, like, valid, I guess. Like, yeah, definitely make sure it's yours. I've heard a lot of situations of people paying child support for 2 years, you know, $1,100 a month for a child they thought was theirs, and then like finding out that it wasn't theirs, and then it comes back and it's like, you don't get that money back, like whatever. So friends are interesting. I haven't really introduced them to a lot of my friends because a lot of my friends are 24 years old, 23 years old. Well, we're like 22 and like going out drinking and partying, doing what 22-year-olds do. And it's like I don't have time to bring my son around any of that. And then also like they probably don't have like a big desire to be around any of that. The people that have met him have been like people that are like, I want to meet him, and I'll jump through whatever hoops you have for me to meet him. And that's how he knows like a few of my friends. Not to say whatever, I live far away from my friends. I live like 30-45 minutes, so it is like a hassle anyways to like bring them and like be like, all right, let's link up. But yeah, so friends, that's what that's like. I mean, we're just speed running topics here. Financial burdens. So one of my friends talked about how I should talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the bad things about it is like I'm fully financially responsible for Oliver, or like mostly, you know what I mean? Obviously, you know, baby mama had to pay like pregnancy fees and stuff like that, and that's a whole situation that isn't worth going into. But like I have had like a nice paying career for a 24-year-old for about a year or 2 years, 3 years, and it's like I don't really get to see the benefits of that because it's like I'm paying like a lot of money in daycare, and you know, and I'm living with my father, you know what I mean? Like whereas like most of the kids my age are living with themselves and like moving into their place, and it's like, oh man, I wish I could do that, but it's like, holy shit, I'm already paying $10,000 a year in daycare, and I'm buying all the food and diapers and wipes, and you know, I was paying for my car note, and then my car got taken, and then for whatever reasons, but like financially it is, I wouldn't say it's a struggle because I have the support system that I do, but it could be a struggle. I can see how it could be a struggle. And the struggle really isn't like, oh, when's my next meal going to be? It's more like, oh, I can't move into my own place and like start my own life as like a young adult. It's like that has to like weigh it off for me to get a raise or for me to become more financially adequate or for Oliver to cost less money. Now, financial burdens, I'd say that pretty much wraps that up. I want to talk about like the scariest moments of my life. I said like the hardest moments were like whenever we were going through like court stuff, but like the scariest moments of my life have always been with Oliver. It's like, you know, you're pooping, you're at the house alone, you're pooping, he leaves the bathroom, you're like, oh, he'll be fine for a little bit, like I'm pooping, I'm finishing up, and I'm thinking about poop because I gotta poop, but oh, he'll be fine, I'm finishing up, and then you go out of the bathroom, you're like, where is he? Like you're like, you don't see him in the immediate proximity, you're like, where is he? Like in those 2 seconds where you're like, oh, he's just in my room. But you sprint to the room to check. It's like this crazy, crazy feeling that I can't describe, but it's like scary, scary. Oliver, obviously, like not very apparent to everyone, but like he's been in the hospital a few times since he was born for various reasons. He's a real healthy, strong baby who doesn't, I guess he gets sick a lot, but like he's like something like whenever he gets sick though, like he doesn't get sick a lot, but whenever he does get sick, he gets sick, bro. Like, stay in the emergency room for 7 days straight sick. Like, last time we were in the emergency room, he had seizures, and it was, like, very scary for everyone involved. And I'm talking, like, that is the scariest moment of my life. That is the scariest moment of my life. I don't even know if it's appropriate for me to put this kind of information online, but I guess if you're this far into the video, you deserve to hear it. And I guess that's like mostly it. Obviously there's a lot more to it, but it's like I've already been talking for 60 minutes. It's like, where do we wrap it up? If I could leave you with one message, it is, you can do this. Just try your hardest. But like, try your hardest. Don't just say you're trying your hardest and like be like putting forth like minimal effort. Like, that's what I did most of my life. Oh, I'm trying my hardest in school right now, Mom. Try your hardest and you will succeed. You know, I promise. And it's gonna be all right. And it'll take time, but you'll get better. And you're never gonna be the best, and you have to always keep learning and adapting, but it will be the most rewarding thing you've ever done in your life. Care for yourself first, baby second, but by caring for yourself first, you're putting the baby first. I guess that's it. I really gotta poop. I hope if you have any questions, leave them down below. Comments, concerns, live, laugh, love. If you could do anything with your life, what would it be?